Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves what should be a good one here today, as it's gonna be BenBot taking on a bot I haven't cast very often, or maybe not at all. It's Alexa. So, a very well-known Terran macro bot, BenBot, going to be taking on a bot that's maybe a little bit lesser known. However, we are going to be having a bit of a cheeky proxy going down, as Alexa just straight up tells us proxy racks total 5, number SCV 3, so we know exactly what's going to be going on. And as always, these bot games, they are a little supercharged because of the speed mining that takes place. It gives about 7-8% extra minerals a minute, which in StarCraft 2, a game of razor sharp margins, is quite significant. And so we're going to see how BenBot does. Looks like BenBot has an SCV chasing down one of these other SCVs, but it will not know what it's up against, as it just sees the one SCV hanging out, but no barracks is being built, as Alexa is deciding not to place that down, whereas it's got these other two SCVs building barracks in split locations, so not putting all its eggs in one basket. Notably, it then changes its plan up, saying it's going to be 4 racks with 2 SCVs, which I suppose makes sense, although there's another one moving towards the front lines. And we've got a proxy versus proxy situation, as BenBot is going for its 1 racks proxy play that it does so well to contain its opponent, but Alexa's going to be kind of countering it a little bit. BenBot cancels its own bunker, as Alexa builds not 1 but 2 in the natural of BenBot. And yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and really quickly pull up Alexa's description so we can get a bit more insight into the bot. We have got Marines engaging Marines. Looks like Alexa actually takes that engagement, which is quite important because BenBot isn't exactly going to have as many Marines as its opponent. This one bunker is up, a Marine gets inside it. BenBot is pulling SCVs into this bunker as well, which isn't great. The Red Terran bot is pulling more and more SCVs against this bunker, trying to stop it build its own bunker. However, Alexa's proxy seems to be having a lot of success here, as BenBot kills off a producing Marine, has another barrack while is shooting at the barracks of Alexa, so this may spawn camp any of the other units, but BenBot's own production has been interrupted as it goes into 1 Hellion, and the Red Terran bot is just pulling SCVs into this bunker still, whereas it would be much better off waiting in this situation. It has now pulled pretty much all its SCVs into danger. BenBot could potentially build a tank, as it does have a tech lab on the way on the factory, but it is short on gas, and it's lost literally all of its SCVs. So this is a very tricky predicament. As a bot author, Alexa seems to be doing quite well with this rush, though, as it's now got an orbital on the way, getting up a factory and a tech lab, so a transition for the blue cheesy Terran bot. And yeah, BenBot is just in a world of trouble as it continues to send SCVs down to this bunker. It would be 1,000 times better off if it simply just sat and wait, which is why some bot authors do have a program that their bot will pool up a certain amount of units before trying to break a bunker. It's all well and good to try and shut down the bunker while it's building, but once it's already built, it's best to say, no, don't just keep sending SCVs in to die like we're seeing in this match. And yeah, Alexa, by all means, seems to have had a successful cheese. This game did get off so darn quickly, though, that I didn't even really get a chance to say, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoy wacky bot games like this, go ahead and click that like button. If we can hit, let's go for 52 likes on this video, that would be amazing. Leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bot matches. Hellion comes in for Alexa, as one SCV repairs another SCV that's trying to repair the Hellions. The Hellions are hanging outside this bunker. BenBot seems to have stopped sending these SCVs to their death, which is good, but it's not mining any gas. As I say that, I think it's about to send more SCVs to their death. And the SCVs aren't even getting damage done to the bunker. They are simply just being shot down before they get that. Hellion's also taking damage. BenBot seems to be kind of hard stuck with this one, and I don't really see how it's going to win the game. But it does go to show that even the best bots can have things go wrong with their programming, but a fix for this for BenBot would be to say, hey, I'm up against a one-base cheese, and plan for it. But BenBot usually isn't the bot that has to worry about that too much, as it's usually the initiator with its own simple proxy barracks strategy. BenBot just keeps feeding units to their death. Meanwhile, Alexa has got a line of ants or marines just dancing back and forth. The blue Terran bot is interestingly going into blue flame. It's making a couple Reapers, so very odd production by the blue Terran bot, but I do believe it should be able to eventually win this game. BenBot is literally just caught in a death spiral for its units as 2 Hellions do come back. We'll see if they get repaired. This SCV is like, right, I got a mine. I don't want to die. Now more Marines are coming on in for Alexa. BenBot's gonna have to make a defense, but it's not really gonna be possible. So while BenBot probably dies here, I am gonna quickly read the description of Alexa. Alexa is a Terran home assistant AI that escaped with dreams of conquest and glory, has since entered the home's renovation business, plays Terran bunker rush, was mech plus kitchen sink, so a little bit of everything. Or I guess a lot of everything, as that's usually what kitchen sink means. And then we've got a nice changelog. Alexa was created on July 6, 2024, so not that old of a bot, quite new actually when it comes to the other bots. Programmed in Python. Of course, it's a Terran bot, last updated the 3rd of March, so receiving some work from its developer. And yeah, successful proxy rush against BenBot. I don't really have too much doubt that if this was a macro game, that BenBot probably would come out on top, but that's Starcraft. You don't always get to macro, as, yeah, BenBot's own cheese kind of got out-cheesed. So well done by Alexa. Cool to see another Terran bot on the scene. This is also a project by the developer Mew77, so that is the same bot author for Princess Mika. The author sends in lots of replays. So if you're a bot author and you want to send in your own replays, you can actually do that in the SC2AI Discord or my own Discord. And it's appreciated as someone looks at these games and says, hey, they're cool. So I make sure to cast the suggestions for the most part. Now, as you guys can probably guess at this point in the game, it's going to be a 2-part video, so stay tuned after we had this crazy proxy opening from Alexa. A bit of an unfortunate, uneventful death by BenBot, but that's just bots, ladies and gentlemen. Even the best bots have games that don't look amazing, which just makes the fact that, like, most of the bot games are entertaining even better, because a lot of the games we had in the past, they were just not great. We had a lot of glitchiness, but as the bots have got better and better, we've had better and better games to watch. So I'll load us into the next game. So here we are in game number 2. It's going to be Damos taking on Zozo in a PvP, pardon me. I was going to say like P versus, but I somehow almost ended up saying like P versus Z, or anyway. Protoss versus Protoss, as we've got 2 incredible Protoss bots. Very cool. We did see this one, Zozo, do quite well in the SC2AI tournament that I've been casting on Sundays. The VODs are on the channel, by the way, for anyone that wants to check that out. And then we have got Damos on the other side. Top Protoss bot, maybe a little bit more rivaled now that we've got -0 back. However, it is a very formidable Protoss bot. Both of these bots can be quite aggressive, so we're going to see how they do against each other. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, I have a new channel, so go ahead and subscribe to that. It's linked in the description of all my videos. And yeah, I cast other StarCraft 2 on there. I put up VODs, me playing with Falcon Paladin, or me casting with Falcon Paladin, and then StarCraft Evo, so Brood War versus StarCraft 2, 2v2 from Euthermal's 2v2 Cups. All sorts of awesome StarCraft. Go ahead and check that out. As far as the build goes in this matchup, we have got Zozo going for a Nexus after a Gateway, whereas Damos is going for a more typical 2-gate opening. Double gas on the way, so standard opening by the red toss. Greedier, more risky opening for Zozo. We'll see if it can get away with it or not, as it tries to chase down a scouting probe of Damos. Let me make sure I get the music going. Apparently I didn't have the music going. For some reason it likes to disable itself, even though I enable it every game. So my apologies if the last part of the video didn't have music enabled. I'm gonna make a note for that right now. Alright, note on the pen and paper. So I'll remember, go into the game and properly save the setting and quit and close it out. It's because I think these bot games are played offline. So basically that means that, like, I'm changing settings offline, so the Blizzard client doesn't necessarily always remember. Alright, so we've got Zozo going for a battery on the low ground, which is mighty important when going for an expansion. As Protoss, you really can't get away without at least one battery at the natural. Now, Damos does still have a couple of Adepts out, so that's going to be quite scary for Zozo. We'll see how well it handles this. There will be 2 Stalkers out. It's going to depend on the Adept Shade Micro of Damos. Zozo doesn't have a probe in the wall to help block this. However, it sends one in now, but I think that's actually going to be a little bit late. It's actually so tight, but the Adepts do make it into the main base. So this is quite problematic for the blue Protoss, which I find it odd that the bot author had it programmed to throw down a pylon to block the Adepts, but it didn't have a probe waiting already, because that's like doing half the work for none of the result, as Adepts are just too quick to not have a probe waiting for it. Stalkers are responding to these 2 Adepts, though. Shooting away at them, they do shade to the main, and a pylon wall does go up, but that kind of just traps some of the probes in for Zozo. So these Adepts are still running free. We'll see if that pylon gets canceled at some point. However, Damos is having a great time with these Adepts harassing away, and looks like that wall does get canceled and replanted. However, this is kind of hard sticking Zozo in the sense that Zozo doesn't want to lower that wall, but Damos always has a shade, because Damos always has a shade, but at the same time it needs to get to its natural and save its workers, but it's unable to do that. So it cancels the wall, rebuilds it once again. So maybe a bit of logic work needs to be done here for Zozo, as Damos gets away with its own Nexus on the way, investing in a Robo, and there's really no benefit from this for the blue Protoss bot. So that's quite unfortunate now for Zozo, as it's effectively just being exploited by Damos with this opening. We'll see if it ever breaks free or not, but as long as Damos just keeps tossing out one shade, Zozo will be in quite a bit of trouble. It's going to probably cancel that pylon last second. Okay, the Stalkers do actually go down the ramp this time, which is good to see. One of those Adepts will shade to the main base. We've got a lazy Stalker not helping out, so it's probably not assigned to any sort of movement group or anything like that. And so Damos really has had a lot of success with just 2 Adepts. 19 probes have been killed. Now, early expand builds are still quite strong, so Zozo is actually only down, well, 4 probes right now, which is within the realm of acceptability. There is an Oracle out for Damos, so it's playing PvP like an absolute hound, as it's going to be sending this Oracle to the natural. We'll see if it can get any damage done or not, as it actually avoids the natural and goes for the main, which is unfortunate. Although Zozo does have 1 Stalker, this lazy Stalker could be a hero. There's also a battery for Zozo. The Oracle makes it to the natural, doesn't get any probes though, just flies on over. Meanwhile, Zozo does go for Stalkers, whereas Damos is producing an Immortal. So that's not great, as Immortals hard counter Stalkers. Zozo does like its Prisms though, so now that it's able to produce one of those, since it's no longer supply blocked, it can potentially shuffle these Stalkers. And I do believe Zozo has had some work done to its Prism Micro in order to actually make it keep these units alive much more efficiently, which is exciting, because the potential to micro units with these Prisms is basically unlimited. So some of the bots are getting better and better at using that potential. We've got an Immortal now on the way for Zozo, as it's actually going to move out on the map with these Stalkers and the Prism. There is this 1 Stalker still in the main to help zone this Oracle out, so cool to see that they get leashed on that Oracle to help push that away. An attempt at a Forge is on the way. Meanwhile, Zozo is looking to push at the front of Damos. However, it is 12 Stalkers to 7, so not the best margins for the blue Protoss. It does have the Prism with it, so it can actually lift up these injured Stalkers as these 2 bots engage. But look at the pullback micro on Damos, really keeping its units alive, so both sides end up bruised, but that's not really the result Zozo was hoping for. The blue Protoss bot is now having to shuffle its units as it gets pushed across the map. Zozo does have its own Immortal. It's got the battery back at home, so this game could very well be determined by which bot fights in front of a battery or at home. Economy-wise, the bots are neck and neck. Army-wise, it's fairly close. There is one more Immortal for Damos, which is big. There is a Prism for Zozo. That could definitely be a factor in this game, although it is still losing Stalkers, unfortunately. Both sides are skirmishing as well as they can, but all in all, Damos takes the much better trade. Its army control seems to be a little bit better than Zozo, or maybe it's just fighting with more stuff. It's difficult to say. Now Zozo will be on the defensive, though. It's producing another Immortal. It's got Stalkers on the way. Damos doesn't have a Prism with its force right now, but Zozo is in quite a bit of trouble. Battery Overcharge does get popped, though, and that is absolutely huge when it comes to helping Zozo hang on. Looks like there's a few probes moving forward, maybe to build a third, but that's not going to happen at the minute. And Damos's push is looking absolutely lethal, as it's just pullback micro on the Stalkers is so good. They're all so injured, but none of them are really dying. Damos has only lost 2 Stalkers during all this chaos. The battery overcharge has run out. Zozo now has to pull the probes into the fight. That is not what it wants to do. And I mean, there's just no firepower for Zozo. So I think Damos is going to take this off the back of its great micro. Doesn't need a Prism, apparently, to out-micro its opponent, as it just has kept all these units alive, and Zozo loses its last Immortal despite trying to juggle it in the Prism. Probes are pulled once more. If we look at the supply, though, it is it's 40 supply to 116. All the probes are dying. Damos has a third behind this. It is such a killer Protoss bot. I do like how both bots approach this matchup. It looked like it could be quite close, but in the end, Damos did kind of just stomp with its incredible micro. And so, ladies and gentlemen, before this one wraps up, make sure to go ahead, click that like button if you haven't already. Leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bot matches. And yeah, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, as I put out daily videos on the channel. And it looks like Damos is afraid of the cannon once again. It really wants to keep its units away from unpowered cannons. So that is definitely something the devs could improve in their bot, just to make it say, hey, that cannon's unpowered. Maybe it's similar to the bunkers. There's no way to tell whether a building's powered or not for bots. I do kind of wonder about that. That would be why it's more difficult. And then, yeah, if you guys do want to support the channel, consider becoming a YouTube member, as that goes a long way to helping out. There's various perks you can get, so just check out that membership program if you do like. It's just that join button down below, or the member link in the description. Battery trying to keep the gateway alive. Unfortunately, it shall not really matter in the grand scheme of things. Damos is going to take this one. Well done by the red Protoss bot, being the absolute killer that it is. And that is going to be that. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for tuning on in. GG.